Ho 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 and welcome to Whisky.com. I am St. Nicholas and this here is Daniel Schöll from Beam Suntory and you are brand ambassador.
That's right.
Welcome to Whisky.com.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we are trying a bit of a smoky whiskey session today.
Yeah, having a little lineup from peat smoked whiskies.
Mm-hmm. So what whiskies are there? Where are we going?
So we are going from the Highlands, the Speyside, to the island of Laphroaig, the island of Islay with Bowmore and Laphroaig.
Oh yeah. So the Ardmore is kind of a easy start to a more like heavy to medium one, and then we're going for the full heavy.
For the full heavy.
Full heavy smoky one. Yeah. And yeah, we have a bit of a theme today, and it's St. Nicholas. I'm not quite sure how well this is celebrated around the world, but in Germany or Europe, it's a bit of a tradition. Because there was a guy named Nicholas, St. Nicholas. He was a holy man, and he was the bishop of Myra. So he was the bishop St. Nicholas of Myra, or probably back in the days he was just the bishop of Myra. Saint is always when you can only be saint if you're
dead, right?
Dead, yeah. I think maybe, I'm not quite sure. So, and if you look at my clothing, this is actually pretty realistic. This is kind of the American version, Santa Claus, and this is a bit more realistic. And he was Myra was part of the Roman Empire, and after after the turn of the first millennia or the year zero, the Christian faith got hold of the Roman Empire. And if you look at like my clothing, I put down the holy hat and this thingy here. Then I do look like a bit of a Roman. So this could be like it's not the same, but it looks a bit similar to a Roman legionnaire.
Yeah.
So
like Centurion Benedict.
Centurion Benedictus, the drinker of whiskey. It would be his kind of bishopdom was in Greece. And this is now, I think, Turkey. And he was really said to be a nice guy, and he gave stuff to the poor people, and he pardoned people, and he actually awakened people from the dead. That's why he's kind of so holy. And even people that have been murdered, chopped up, put into a barrel of salt, and then he just reawakened them and they came back to life. And nowadays, Saint Nicholas comes to the little children on the 6th, usually, of December, and he brings them sweets. Except for the naughty kids, they don't get sweets. There is a demon named Krampus, and he brings, and I think he punishes people. He punishes children. I think they get slapped or they don't get anything, or they have to stand in the corner or something like that. And there is big traditions of the Krampuslauf, which is kind of the Krampus run, where a lot of people dress up like demons in southern Germany, and they in Austria as well, and they dance and make music, and it's kind of a big thing. It's kind of a big show. But this is just the southern part. You're a bit like north of Bavaria,
a bit more in the northern west part of
middle of Germany. Everything north of Bavaria is.
Not everyone is actually from Bavaria, right? So where I come from, we have the Nikolaus is always followed by Knecht Ruprecht. And so he's his adjutant, and he's the one who's giving them like nuts and stuff when they were good, and who gives them coal when they were naughty.
Cool. I think in the English version they call him Santa's little helper.
Santa's little helper.
I learned that from The Simpsons. They have a dog called Santa's little helper, and in German it's Knecht Ruprecht.
You're right. Totally right. Yeah.
Does he have a a walking stick where he slaps the children?
I
with?
think he has
He does
something,
have?
something like this, yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah, but
more youth-friendly version is they get a piece of coal into their boots and not some sweets or something.
yeah, but today we're not having coal, we're having peat. But actually, this is too young for having coal in it. Because the first distillery is quite interesting. Let's have a look at the map where we find Ardmore. And you told it well, the Ardmore story.
So we now see the picture. So Ardmore is located in the Highlands, specific on the edge of Speyside, and it's located on the train track in between Aberdeen and Inverness, so the most northern point of Loch Ness, and the railway is going quite directly through the distillery, and it's the highest point. So Ardmore, translated, is the high point because it's the highest point on this train line.
And we have an old picture from when Horst visited the distillery, and you can see the train tracks that just go past the distillery. It looks kind of like a train station.
It kind of looks like, but it's just going across the warehouses. And what you see here, I think that's an older picture, but it looks quite the same. The only thing is we printed the Ardmore logo, so we painted it or repainted it. But the warehouse where you see the William Teachers and Sons Limited, this looks the same. Yeah, so it's quite the same as this picture even today.
So it actually was founded by Adam Teachers in 1898, and it was and still is quite a big distillery. 5 million liters are output per year. And you said you have two kind of spirits there.
Yeah, so most of the spirit we produce goes into Teachers. So this is the leading malt. Ardmore is the leading malt in Teachers whiskey, but Ardmore is the peated one. So we produce two types of single malt there. Ardmore, which is the peated one, which is about 12 to 14 ppm. And then we have the Ardlea, which is a non-peated version of Ardmore.
Okay, very nice. And yeah, let's have a look at the stills. They have 4 wash stills and 4 spirit stills, so 8 stills in total. Quite a number of stills, and they are 15,000 in capacity. So they're not quite huge, but they are big. They are definitely big. They are really straight, and the line arm is falling quite sharply. And yeah, what is interesting is back in the day in 2001, it was one of the last distilleries that replaced the coal with hot steam. So this is now run by hot steam, but back in the day it was run by coal fire, direct firing, which is kind of special. And yeah, I'm not quite sure when Horst took these pictures, but this might actually be one of the pictures that is still with coal firing, if it was one of his earlier tours in 1997, not 1970. Okay, so as you said, lightly peated, 12 ppm. So let's try it.
Yeah, so we go.
What can you tell me about what's in it?
Yeah, what we have there is the Ardmore Port Wood Finish. It's a 12-year-old whiskey, and it's primarily aged in first fill bourbon casks and has a finish in port casks.
Ooh, finish in port casks.
Finish in port pipes, right.
This might be interesting.
I think you can notice it immediately.
Greetings from Michigan and greetings from Öffingen. Quite the same. I don't know. Just joking. Oh yeah, it's nice and juicy. I always love the port because it's really juicy with a lot of grapes and a lot of sweetness to it as well. But it's got a fresh sweetness to fresh fruitiness to it as well. So like an orange. But the interesting thing is, it also has a nice smoky touch to it.
Yeah. So in the nose, you can feel the smokiness, but it's not too harsh. It's not too in your face, and you smell like the sweet. What you said, like the red fruits, bit of strawberries, like a little bit of sulfur, but just a little bit, and it's like really fresh, really clean on the nose.
I like it. It's interesting that you can have an everyday berries, fruits, sweetness dram that is just lightly peated. Even though, lightly medium peated.
So in this lineup, it's the lightest one.
Yeah.
But in other lineups, of course, it will be a bit of more peaty whiskey.
Okay, so berries and fruits, only a very slight smokiness. So, slange?
Slange maar.
A nice berries fruitiness to it. Very, very fruity with a grape character. But now in the end, I do get a bit of a oaky, spiced wood, chocolatey feeling to it. I like it.
I think it's in the taste you get more of the smoke on the nose. It was quite light. It was there, but it was quite light, and now you have it covering all over your mouth. The sweetness, a bit dry in the aftertaste, like the European oak, the port pipes. You feel them definitely in the aftertaste. It's smokier in the aftertaste than it is with the nose, but it's like it's sweet.
Oh, I like it. It's a nice port finished whiskey. I always do like the port finished whiskies, and I have to say I didn't try that many Ardmore yet. It's just that I haven't been to the distillery yet, and all the distilleries I haven't been to is like horse territory. so he gets all the Ardmore.
So with Ardmore, we don't have a official visitor center, so you can't visit it. But so Horst, of course did. He visited them, but
I didn't think he had an appointment. If you look at it, it's just from outside and through the glass.
But it's a working distillery, and many people didn't notice it. So it was even today we use most of it for teachers for blending, but people asked for it and asked for the single malt. Some get hold of it, and so I think we went bigger with Ardmore as a single malt, starting from like 2007 with the traditional casks, and then with the legacy. But that one is like 46% ABV. It's non-chill filtered. It's like it's like a sweet spot of Ardmore, and it's a good one to have your first try with it, I think.
So yeah, we're moving from the highlands to the islands, and we're going to the Isle of Islay. This here is the Isle of Islay, and you can see there is a little bit of a bit of sea going into it, and that's Loch Indal. Loch Indal, and it's like an L shaped, an upside down L, and at the foot of the L, that's where the Bowmore town and the distillery at the town is located. And this is how it looks like. It's a nice, white chalked wall, and it's right next to the sea. And Bowmore means the Great Reef or Big Reef. And if you go into the tasting room at Bowmore, if you have a tasting there, you can look out at Loch Indal, and I think at low tide you can even see that there is a bit of a reef there.
Yeah, and it's the tasting room is quite nice because it's quite next to the #1 vaults. I think perhaps if you have been there, you were allowed to visit them as well, which are the oldest Scotch maturation warehouses in the world.
Oh.
And the only ones where part of it is below sea level. So this is where a bit of the salty and a bit of the maritime character of Bowmore is coming from.
And if you look in the background, you see two pagoda roofs. But these two pagoda roofs, they're special.
Yeah, that's our two kilns. So for drying our barley.
So yeah, they are active.
They are active.
They are active.
We are one of a few with Bowmore, which have their own maltings on site.
Yeah, so malting is done at the Bowmore distillery with malting floors. So where you you don't make single malt whiskey with grain, so you have to malt it beforehand. And back in the days, all distilleries had to malt their own grain before they distill it. And yeah, at the distillery of Bowmore, they kept up this tradition, and I think they do a portion like 10, 15.
But it's around 20%.
20%.
It's around 20% what we do on site to keep the character, to keep the taste. We have our own peat bog as well at the river, at the peat banks of Laggan Moss. Where we get the River Laggan is where we get our water from. It's like the longest water line in all over Scotland. It's 8 miles long, and this is where we get the peat from as well. So the rest we buy, of course, we have to, but we keep some on site to keep our traditional taste.
So then after they get the malt from offsite and they have their own malt, they obviously blend it together, and that is kind of also a delicate process where you have to always measure and wait before you put it into the malt mill. And this is how you settle the ppm to the just right level, because usually the distillers are not quite happy with the accuracy they get from the malt man. Yeah. Next up, we're looking at the distilling part, so the stills of Bowmore, and they have 2 wash stills and 2 spirit stills. Wash stills are 20,000 liters and spirit stills are 11,500, and the ones in the back are the wash stills and the ones in the front are the spirit stills. And they are quite interesting because they are kind of conical shape and they are quite thin in their neck. Yeah,
we want to have a lot of copper contact and wanna create the smooth whiskey.
So yeah, and that's then creates the Bowmore whiskey. So the 12-year-old, what's inside?
Mostly bourbon cask led, but with a portion of sherry oak as well. So it's a good all-rounder. It's a good one to start when starting with Bowmore, to see what the distillery can give you. So like most famous ones are of course the 12, the 15, which is very heavy sherry led one. This one is you have a bit more of the peatiness, of the smokiness. It's a bit it's a bit more to see what the still is bringing and what distillery can do.
So we just raised from, what was it, 12 to 14 to about 35-ish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you do get that in the glass. I would have even expected a little more, but sometimes the peaty whiskey hide their peatiness is a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is more peatiness within the taste than what I've got now in the nose. And this is a bit strange because usually when you have a Bowmore right in the nose, then it's strong sherry and strong fruitiness. But just because we had the Ardmore before with that really, really strong portwood, This is relatively mild and pretty smoky whiskey.
Yeah, it's a bit more of the dry smoke, especially compared to the Ardmore, and the fruitiness is a bit missing, but just because we now tried after the Ardmore, and for me it's vanilla, and it's like a bit of a dry smokiness. What you have in the nose.
And the more I nose it now, the more I do get this nice sherry note in it. So it has a nice round sherry note to it. For me, it's a little bit like strawberries.
Strawberries, cherry. Yeah, it's a bit sweeter. Yeah.
Nice. And it's a bit less, it has a few ABVs less. So the other one with 46% ABV, that's quite a number. This here is a bit of a, more beginner-friendly 40%.
Yeah, for it's like for a smoky peaty whiskey from Islay, it's a more beginners-friendly. So it's not the peaty slap in the face. So let's have that one. Slante. But there you have the smokiness.
Oh, really smoky. Oh, a lot more smoky than the other one. And this one is going a bit into that direction of a sweet ham. Yeah. So always imagine it when you go to Italy and you visit some ham manufacturing site, and they go down into the cellar and they have hams hanging there, and it's really smoky because they smoke their hams, and that's kind of the smoke that I have here in the glass, combined with a bit of a dried fruits, with a bit of a Christmas flavor going on.
Yeah, a lot of, for me, again, a lot of vanilla. Yeah, vanilla at the campfire, let's say. So the smoke, which you don't have in the nose, you definitely have it in the mouth. You have it when you then start breathing again. It's still there, but it's kind of creamy, creamy mouth feel, and it's definitely not too much ABV. So it's more, it's not the heaviest, it's not the peatiest, it's not the strongest. It's more of a gentleman in this lineup.
I like it. What I like about the Bowmore is they have a strong peatiness, and it's kind of round.
Yeah.
It's still kind of round. Can't really say that about the next whiskey. It's a bit of a more intense character. So we're going from Islay, we're going down south the road to the south coast of Islay, just through the port of Port Ellen, and then you find the distillery of Laphroaig. And the distillery of Laphroaig was founded in 1815, so a couple years later, and it was visited often by Prince Charles, because he really likes the Laphroaig whiskey.
Yeah, he does. He likes and drinks a lot of whiskeys, but this one is his favorite. So he gave us the royal warrant in 1994.
So actually, the Laphroaig distillery could call themselves the Royal Laphroaig, but they chose not to. But they do have the warrant of the Prince of Wales here. There on the top we have that signature, or that, what is it? What do you call that?
It's the
emblem.
The emblem. So it's called Royal Warrant. So it's the warrant of Prince Charles, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, by appointment, and this is something where even the Scots are proud of. So this is something we wear with proud on the bottle. We wear it on the tubes, and we even have one on the outside of the distillery on the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, the distillery also does their own malting, and this is interesting because there's a distillery video up on our channel, and you can see me turning the malt, and you have like the two old style ways of doing it. First is with the shovel, which is really
Yeah.
a handful, and you get the monkey shoulder. And the other one is the rake, which you can pull behind you, and it turns, rakes them through.
It's a bit more back friendly.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But it's still a lot of work to do that kind of thing, because you have to have it like lying there for like 5 to 7 days, and you have to turn it regularly. I think every 4 or 6 hours or something like
Yeah.
that. And that's a hard work. And yeah, doing that in a distillery is a big sign of tradition. Let's say it that way.
It's a big sign of tradition. It's keeping the flavor, and as you said, it's 3 to 4 hours for about 6 days, which it takes for the grain to grow its roots and to malt it before we dry it. And we have to turn it every 3 to 4 hours. You have to, and you see it on the picture, climate control is on because the window is open. Yeah, that's how we control the temperature in there. And turning it, and then putting it to the kiln to dry it.
And that is really interesting. If you're at the distillery and you do the distillery tour, you can actually see the kiln. You can there is a little window there where you can look inside, and it's amazing that so much heat and smoke in one place, and you can't really take a picture except from outside looking in, and it's very, very interesting. And you just realize how much smoke is used to make Laphroaig whiskey, because it's a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
And some of it sticks to the malt, and that makes the whiskey smoky. Let's have a look at the pot stills. You have 3 wash stills. These are the wash stills. They are a bit smaller, 10,900 liters. And then you have the 4 spirit stills. They are smaller, with only 3,640 liters, which is quite small for the industry. And then you have a 4th spirit still with 7,280 liters, which is double of the other spirit stills. If you see, you got a huge constriction piece, so that's where a lot of vortices inside the alcoholic fumes appear, and that is called reflux, and that means the alcohol cannot just go straight up, but it's being hindered by that, so the alcohol can separate very well, and it also touches the copper walls more often, and that is where you get a little bit of a more of a clean flavor,
cleaner,
sweeter, lighter flavor. It takes the intense flavors and the unwanted flavors out of the whiskey.
Yeah. You see, like the open up line arms, and a lot of reflux, and what you saw in the back, as you told before, is the big one, the big spirit still with over 7,000 liters. Yeah.
So good. Then let's go for the Laphroaig 10. What is inside the Laphroaig 10?
It's all first fill bourbon barrels. We
bourbon?
get them from the USA, especially straight from Maker's Mark. Since 1994, we exclusively use Maker's Mark bourbon barrels for Laphroaig. Thank you very much. So you smell it now. You smell it, even if you don't.
You can already smell it.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So for the 10-year, it's all first fill. Oh yeah. And you notice it immediately.
Oh yeah, that's one peaty whiskey that doesn't hide the peat. And it's a really medicinal kind of peat. It really feels phenolic. It really feels maritime. It has a bit of that seaweed flavor to it, and a lot of peat smoke.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's iodine. It's smoked bacon. it's this medicinal notes. It's a bit of vanilla, huh? But it's dry, really like dry, burnt. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. But it's a very strong taste to it. Milder, more gentle and elegant compared to the artwork. Strong smoke in the mouth, but also some sweetness. Yeah, but that's I think Purple Elephant is kind of a professional. If you'd give a Laphroaig to a beginner, he wouldn't say mild.
But yeah, so I think that's
or maybe it's on the nose.
Perhaps that one was meant for the Bowmore. Yeah.
Is it still on the Bowmore? Maybe.
I think
okay.
that one was still for a Bowmore. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think so for when you, it's hard when I think we should perhaps try it and then it's hard to get behind the smoke. Let's say it this way.
Yeah.
So I think when we try it, we get a better impression.
Yeah.
Slange, man.
Slange. Strong smokiness. Strong smokiness and this time it's a bit of a charcoal smokiness, like really that from the kiln, and combined with the dry smokiness, and now it comes into the phenolic smokiness, and a bit of a bourbon style character in there as well. But
a
it's
lot of
hard,
sweetness.
Hard to get behind the smoke.
Yeah, you have to be a bit of a more experienced connoisseur, let's say it, to get behind it. But when you once found it, I think it's easier. So it's a lot of that dry smokiness. It's a lot of that iodine. It's like the bacon, like the burnt ants for the guys from USA joining. It's like the burnt ants. It's that sweet character. It's kind of a light whiskey, but the smokiness in the nose is like very there in the beginning, and you have to get used to it to taste like the sweetness.
Once you get into the second sip, then you've pretty much adapted to the smokiness, and then you get more what's behind that smokiness. Pure Purple Elephant, not that super strong, but very artificial smoke. Yeah, it feels like it's artificial because it's so strong.
So it is. It takes. It's not artificial, but it's like cold smoked. We use a lot of very wet peat for a very long period of time, with a very low temperature, about 25 to 30 degree, to flavor our malt before like really putting in more heat, putting in more peat, and putting in some coal to like really dry the barley. So we have like a two-step drying process. First flavoring it. But just flavoring it with a traditional peat, our own peat from the Glenmacry peat bog we use, hand-cut peat, and then drying it in the second step, so we can, even nowadays, still have our typical Laphroaig taste, which we get famous for.
What is really interesting for me today is that you do have a bit of a different flavor within the peat smoke, first of all because of how you do peat smoking, but also where you got the peat from, because the Ardmore bogs, where you get the peat from, they are much different to what you see on, let's say, Laphroaig, Bowmore, or even other kind of distilleries that have peat smoke in it.
Yeah, so the peat bog we use for Ardmore is mostly St. Fergus, where most of the distilleries in the Highlands got their peat from, and it's a lot more wood. than we have on Islay. And the where you got the peat from really makes the smoke different.
Yeah, definitely. So, which one was your favorite? Or what's your
today? Because here it's not that warm. So for me, is like it's Ardmore. Think then it's Bowmore, then it's Laphroaig.
Yeah, same for me. Ardmore, Bowmore, Laphroaig. Even though this time it's a bit more of a close call because I like the second sip of the Laphroaig was really good. That was just the sweetness coming through, much more through. That just opened it up for me because today I was more in a bit of a sweet touch. I like the both Ardmore and Bowmore how they play with the sweet and smoky. It's really nice.
Yeah, the fruitiness, but this is like compared to what you had before today or yesterday. So the fruitiness of the Ardmore is like really there, but having it like the second sip, Laphroaig gets fruitier. Laphroaig gets sweeter, way sweeter as well. Yeah, but and the Bowmore, it's like it's always the gentleman in a peat smoke lineup.
And we also have the questionnaire how you found the whiskey, and you can still vote. And I think we have already 14 votes in, and yeah, let's keep it open for a little longer. Yeah. So I was comparing this a little bit to a Highland Park that I had just a few days before. And it's interesting how the different peat smoke come to be. What I've also got to know on Islay is the peat that you burn is much different to where you cut it because you have a few layers of it.
Yeah.
The upper parts are much more with roots, and the lower parts are much more condensed and going into the cold direction. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's I don't have the names, but it's like most of it we use is 3 different layers, and the bottom layer is way more efficient. It creates more heat, but the other one is getting us more notes of like the heather, the honey, because it still got more roots in it and still got more vegetation and plants and stuff in it. So it's more like the
flavoring part.
The flavoring part, and the other one is the bottom layers are more for like really heating it up.
Heating it up in the end. Okay, so let's close the questionnaire and see what was the best one. It should come up in any second. There you go. So, what was your favorite whiskey? The Ardmore, 36%, Bowmore, 31%, and Laphroaig, 31 as well. Yeah, okay, so in the German take, we also had the Ardmore as the best. But then was quite good. Number 2 was the Laphroaig. Actually, this is pretty much a close call. It's pretty much third.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. I like the Ardmore this time best, but I think the other twos have their moment as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's no bad whiskey or it's always depending on the right moment. So I think if it was like a couple of degrees colder or a bit more rainy outside than it is today, even on Nikolaus, even on 5th, it's the 5th of December today, it's not that cold as we are used to. And I think if you tried it on Islay, I think the Bowmore Laphroaig would be on number 1.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Let me do a little bit of a advertisement in our own theme. The next live tasting, if you like the live tasting, will be on the 26th of December, and will be a beginner's live tasting where we start from the very, very beginning. This is kind of meant for our German customers. We sell these little boxes of whiskey in them, and you can actually send them per per mail order to people who you'd like to introduce to the
World of whiskey.
The world of whiskey, and so they can tune in on the 22nd at 8 p.m. Central European Standard Time on Whisky.com/live, and we will tell you everything from the beginning of whiskey, how's whiskey, what is it defined, and it's gonna be only Scotch whiskey though. And if you're like most of you, a bit more advanced, there will be an advanced live tasting on the 27th at 8 o'clock, and it will have a bit older whiskies, a bit interesting whiskies, and a bit more bit more in depth and a bit more professional about that. So go to Whisky.com/live. There's all the dates on the side, or if you don't, scroll down with your mobile phone if you're watching on a mobile phone. Yeah, so do you have anything else to say?
Was nice to be here. Was nice to try the whiskies with all of you and with you. Nice to see different opinions, different impressions of it. Great to be here. Yeah,
thank you very much for bringing a bit more knowledge to these three whiskies and having them with us. Was my pleasure. And thank you very much for watching this video. And if you found this video interesting, then please feel free to share this with your friends. And see you next time.